I had spent the entire morning trying to calm my shaking hands. The invitation card lay on my dresser, its gold lettering shimmering under the soft light. The Derek Lawson Foundation, Annual Charity Gala, my son's name, my boy. The same boy I raised alone, working 2 jobs, skipping meals so he wouldn't have to. Tonight was supposed to be my chance to finally feel like part of his world again. I wore my best dress, simple, outdated, but carefully ironed. When I arrived at the grand ballroom, chandeliers dripping with crystal light, I instantly felt out of place among the diamonds and designer gowns. But I kept telling myself he invited me. He wants me here. When Derek saw me, he forced a smile.
"Oh, Mom, you came."
Just 3 words, flat and unwelcoming. No hug, no warmth. His assistant whisked him away within seconds, leaving me standing there, clutching my purse like a lifeline. Throughout the evening, I watched him from afar, commanding the stage, charming donors, laughing with people who barely knew his childhood but acted like lifelong supporters. Every time our eyes met, he looked through me as though I were nothing more than another seat filler. Still, I clapped, I smiled, I pretended my heart wasn't breaking. When it was time for the charity auction, the lights dimmed and Derek strutted back on stage, microphone in hand. His confidence echoed across the hall. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "get ready for our final auction of the night." The crowd buzzed with excitement. And for this one, Derek paused dramatically, scanning the room before his gaze landed, unfortunately, right on me. My stomach dropped. "I've got something extra special," he smirked, a smirk I had never seen before, one dripping with arrogance. "Who wants my boring mom?" The room erupted into laughter. I froze. Heat rushed to my cheeks. My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat a reminder of how foolish I'd been to come. People glanced at me whispering, giggling behind manicured hands. Someone in the front even raised a champagne glass in mock salute. Derek continued, feeding off the crowd's cruelty. "She cooks, she cleans, she nags, and she'll remind you to take a jacket when it's cold." More laughter. I felt myself sinking into the chair, wishing it would swallow me whole. A man near the stage shouted jokingly, "I'll bid 1. The audience howled with amusement. $1. Derek repeated loudly, grinning. Going once, going twice. My vision blurred. I tasted salt. My hands trembled. My own son auctioning me off like I was a worthless object. I tried to swallow the lump in my throat, but it only grew heavier. Just as Derek lifted his hand to close the humiliating sale, a deep voice echoed from the far back of the ballroom, $1 million. The room snapped into silence. Chairs stopped moving. Glasses hovered mid-air. People twisted their necks to see the source of the bold interruption. Even Derek froze, the microphone slipping slightly in his hand. My breath stalled. A man stood up from the shadows, tall, composed, wearing a dark tailored suit that absorbed the spotlight rather than reflected it. His presence was commanding, his expression unreadable. He stepped forward, repeating clearly, "I'm bidding $1 million for Elaine Lawson. My name." He knew my name. The crowd murmured in disbelief. Derek's jaw slackened. "It's a joke, right?" he stammered. The man's eyes didn't blink. "Transfer initiated." People gasped. Derek's assistant rushed to confirm, returning wide-eyed. "It's real. The money. It's already in the foundation account." The microphone slipped from Derek's fingers and hit the floor with a sharp crack that echoed across the hall. I sat there stunned, breathless, the humiliation still burning, but now mixed with something unfamiliar, hope. Someone had chosen me, and the night was only just beginning. For a moment, the ballroom buzzed like a shaken beehive. People whispered, gasped, craned their necks. No one knew how to react to a man casually dropping $1 million on a middle-aged woman who had just been publicly mocked by her own son. The stranger walked forward with calm, controlled steps. Each heel strike echoed like a verdict. His eyes were dark and steady, his posture elegant but unapproachable. The kind of presence that made powerful people suddenly remember their manners. When he finally reached the front, he didn't look at Derek first. He looked at me. "Mrs. Lawson," he said with a respectful nod, as if greeting someone of importance. "It's good to see you again." Again. My confused blink made him smile faintly, but gently. Derek, still recovering from the shock, scrambled to pick up the microphone. "Sir, this must be some kind of publicity stunt, maybe a mix-up. You can't just bid $1 million on your mother." The man finished sharply. "I can," and I did. A ripple of murmurs spread through the guests. Derek's face drained of color. "Who even are you?" The man finally turned his head, his gaze slicing through Derek with unsettling precision. "My name," he said evenly, "is Marcus Hale, The air shifted. Even I recognized that name. Marcus Hale, the reclusive billionaire philanthropist, the man behind countless tech acquisitions and silent investments. Business magazines called him the ghost backer because he rarely appeared in public despite influencing half the industry. Derek swallowed hard. Mr. Hale, I had no idea you were here tonight. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Clearly, a few donors exchanged nervous looks. Derek's entire body stiffened as though preparing for invisible blows. Is this real? He asked shakily. The bid, I'm full. Marcus slid a signed payment confirmation toward Derek's assistant. Your foundation has already received the transfer, so the transaction stands. People gasped again. Derek blinked rapidly, trying to save face. Well, I'm sure we can issue a refund. No, Marcus said sharply. This is not a refund situation. This is a reckoning. The room stilled. Marcus stepped closer to Derek, lowering his voice but ensuring the entire hall could hear him. You seem confused, Derek, so let me clarify. He pointed toward me, not rudely but with reverence. This woman saved my life. The microphone slipped slightly from Derek's trembling hand. What? He whispered. Marcus exhaled slowly, his eyes distant as memories surfaced. Years ago he began. Before you built your precious company, before the donations and Gala's long, before anyone cared about the name Marcus Hale, I was homeless. A runaway, starving, invisible. I felt my breath quicken, because something about his voice, something fragile in it, stirred a faint memory. A thin boy sitting behind the grocery store, torn clothes, timid eyes, a boy I once handed a warm sandwich to during my night shift. Marcus continued. One winter night, when I was at my lowest, your mother found me behind a store. She gave me food, a coat, and something far rarer than charity. His eyes softened. Kindness. A hush washed over the room. She sat with me, talked to me, treated me like a human being when the world saw trash. I never forgot. His voice thickened just slightly. That moment became the turning point of my life, and eventually, the foundation of my fortune. My eyes welled. I didn't recognize her at first tonight, he admitted. But when I did, and saw you humiliating her, well, he shrugged lightly, though anger simmered beneath. The bid felt appropriate. Derek stepped back, horrified. You know her, and you're the Marcus Hale. Marcus tilted his head. I'm also, he added coldly, the primary investor keeping your company afloat. A stunned silence, a collective inhale. Derek visibly deflated, panic flashing across his face. Then Marcus said the words that made him drop the microphone entirely. And as of this moment, Derek, I'm withdrawing everything. The microphone crashed to the floor. Gasps, whispers, chaos. But through it all, Marcus stepped toward me gently and offered his arm. Mrs. Lawson, he said softly, may I escort you out of this place? For the first time that night, I felt seen, not as someone's burden, but as someone's worth. The cold night air outside the Gala felt strangely soothing against my burning cheeks. Marcus didn't rush me. He simply walked beside me, matching my pace, letting silence become a soft blanket instead of a punishment. Where would you like to go, Mrs. Lawson? He asked gently. I swallowed. Anywhere but here. He nodded once, and a sleek black car pulled up as if it had been waiting its whole life for that command. The driver opened the door, and Marcus helped me inside like I was someone precious, someone to be handled with care. It had been a long time since anyone treated me that way. Inside, the world felt quieter, softer, but my heart was still a storm. I'm sorry, I whispered, my voice cracking. You didn't have to do that. The bid, the scene, it must have caused trouble for you. Marcus shook his head. The only trouble tonight came from your son, not from my choice. I closed my eyes, leaning back against the seat. I don't understand what's happened to him. Derek used to be so sweet, so grateful, so. Marcus's expression shifted in a way I didn't fully understand. Compassion mixed with something darker. Lane, he said softly, there are things you deserve to know. My stomach tensed. What things? He hesitated, as though deciding how much truth I could handle. Finally, your son didn't build his company alone, and some of the opportunities he received came through unethical means. I frowned. Unethical, Marcus nodded. A few years ago, Derek applied for a major innovation grant. The application required a co-signer, someone with strong financial history and personal credibility. He used your identity. My mouth fell open. He forged my signature. The word hit me like a blow. He used your name, your credit record, even your employment history. Everything he needed to paint himself as rooted, responsible, trustworthy. My breath caught in my throat, but I had no idea. That was intentional, Marcus said. He hid it all, and he succeeded. But later he started spreading rumors. Rumors. My voice shook. That you were unstable, that you had memory issues, that you preferred to stay out of public events because of embarrassment. I pressed a hand to my chest. He said that. Marcus nodded slowly. My eyes stung with betrayal I never asked for, but had no choice but to feel. He embarrassed me, I whispered. Because he was embarrassed of me. Marcus's jaw tightened, and tonight was the final proof. The car drove quietly through the city, lights streaking past the windows like fading dreams. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Marcus's phone buzzed. He checked the screen. A faint sigh escaped him. "What is it?" I asked. "Your son," he replied. "His board has just received emergency emails." My withdrawal triggered a chain reaction. "Other investors are pulling out too." I blinked. "So fast?" "He built his company like a house of glass," Marcus said. "My support was the foundation. Without it everything cracks." I didn't know how to feel. Angry, vindicated, guilty. It all swirled together, heavy and confusing. "He'll come to you," Marcus continued, "soon, not out of love, Elaine, but out of desperation." As if summoned by the very prediction, my phone rang seconds later. "Derek." I stared at the screen, hands trembling. Marcus gently placed his hand over mine. "You don't have to answer," he murmured. "Not until you're ready." But I did answer. "Mom." Derek's voice was frantic, breathless. "Where are you? You need to talk to Marcus. Fix this. Tell him you didn't mean to embarrass me. Tell him you're grateful." I'm losing everything. Something inside me finally snapped. "Derek," I said quietly, "I was humiliated tonight. By you. And now you want me to fix your mess." His silence told me everything. "You used me," I whispered. "Lied about me. Stole my name. And tonight, you auctioned me like trash." "That was just a joke," he shouted. "You're overreacting." "No," I cut in sharply, voice steady for the first time. "I'm finally reacting." Before he could speak again, I hung up. The line went dead. Marcus looked at me with something like pride. "You handled that with more strength than you know." But even as he said it, I sensed something else looming. The night wasn't over. Not yet. The reckoning was still unfolding, and Derek's fall had only just begun. The next morning, sunlight spilled gently across the guest room Marcus had arranged for me in one of his city apartments. I hadn't slept much. My mind replayed the humiliation that revealed Derek's panic, Marcus's steady presence. Everything felt unreal, like I had stepped into someone else's life. I sat at the small dining table sipping tea when Marcus entered, sleeves rolled up, the faintest smile on his face. "Did you rest at all?" he asked. "A little," I lied. He pulled out a chair. "Today will be difficult. Your son's board called an emergency meeting. He'll likely reach out again." I swallowed, bracing myself. "Let him. I need to face the truth now, not the version I invented because I wanted to believe he still loved me." Marcus nodded with a kind of quiet respect. Not even 20 minutes later, a sharp knock rattled the front door. Marcus gave me a look. "Are you ready?" I took a breath. "Yes." When the door opened, Derek stood there, hair uncombed, tie missing, eyes red and frantic. He looked nothing like the polished, arrogant man from the night before. His complexion was pale, his hands trembling. "Mom," he gasped, pushing inside. "I need your help. Everything is crashing down. Investors are backing out, deals are frozen, the board is threatening to vote me out. This is all a misunderstanding." "Fix it." I raised a hand. "Stop." He blinked, startled. "Stop what?" "Talking to me like I owe you something." His jaw tightened. "I don't have time for this. My company is at stake. And I was at stake last night," I said quietly. "But that didn't matter to you." Marcus approached but remained silent, letting me lead. Derek clenched his fists. "Mom, please, you know how hard I worked. I know how hard I worked." I cut in. "Rising you alone, supporting your dreams. And in return, you used me, lied about me, embarrassed me in front of 200 people." Derek's face contorted in something between guilt and panic. "I didn't mean." "You meant every word." My voice didn't shake this time. "You auctioned me like I was a broken piece of furniture no one wanted." His eyes fell to the floor. After a long silence, Marcus finally stepped forward. "Derek," he said calmly, "your downfall didn't start last night. Last night simply exposed it." Derek turned to him desperately. "Mr. Hale, please. I didn't know it was you. I didn't know she knew you. I didn't know." "That's the problem," Marcus said sharply. "You never cared to know." Derek swallowed. "Just tell me what to do. I'll apologize. I'll publicly thank her. I'll donate more. I'll do whatever you want." Marcus's expression hardened. "You still don't understand," he said quietly. "This isn't about money. It's about character." Derek's breath hitched. "So you're just going to ruin me?" Marcus shook his head. "You did that yourself." Then, in a calm voice that felt like a gavel striking a courtroom bench, Marcus delivered the final blow. I purchased all of your company's outstanding debt this morning. Derek blinked rapidly. Why, you what? Every loan, every lien, every outstanding balance. Marcus's gaze was unflinching. You built your empire on fragility. I simply removed the illusions holding it together. Derek staggered back as if physically struck. You own everything? No. Marcus corrected. I control everything, and I choose to liquidate. Derek's legs gave out, and he sank onto the couch. You can't do this, he whispered hoarsely. Marcus didn't reply. He didn't need to. I stepped closer, forcing Derek to look at me. You didn't lose money, I said softly. You lost your mother. His face crumpled, but his tears didn't move me. Not anymore. Marcus helped me gather my things, and together we walked toward the door. Before leaving, Marcus looked back once. A $1 mother, he said coldly, is worth more than $1 million son. We left Derek in that apartment, small, broken, and finally facing himself. Outside, the air felt fresher, cleaner. A strange peace settled over me as I stepped into the sunlight. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking behind someone. I wasn't hiding. I wasn't apologizing. I was free, and freedom, unexpected, overdue, and beautifully mine, was the sweetest revenge of all.